Okay, well, thanks for staying with us. Those of you who are still in the stream, we're continuing to monitor the news conference that we're standing by for. I am trying to keep an ear on it in my ear to see if we get any updates on when it may start. At last report, they had pushed the news conference back to 8:30 Central Time, which is where I am at right now. But we are waiting to see if they're going to push this back any further. We're not sure what the delay is about. Um, but again, the big news is that the suspect in Charlie Kirk's assassination has been taken into custody. Uh, Law enforcement sources briefed on the matter say that the suspect is 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah. There were some reports earlier this morning that he may have been identified by his father. His father contacted authorities and organized his surrender, and that reportedly happened without incident. Um, Video was released last night, giving a more detailed look at the suspect and what he was wearing, and it appears that may have been what tipped off his father to the fact that he may have in fact been the person who shot and killed Kirk during yesterday's event. Okay, so still not getting any new information as to when this news conference may be getting underway. Just kind of scouring some of our uh, uh, news sources, news outlets out there. Um, Obviously, this ends a day long, 2 day long manhunt for Kirk's suspected killer. Um, At last report, the news conference is still scheduled to begin here any moment, as we're awaiting that to get underway in Utah. Um, Apparently, now sources, CNN's reporting actually that the suspect confessed to his father that he was the shooter. Now, where that led to them reportedly surrendering, I don't know if he himself decided to surrender or if perhaps his father convinced him to surrender peacefully. Um, but it sounds as though that he decided that there was no escaping this. And it may have come from the photos that were released that perhaps convinced the suspect that there was enough information out there to identify him and that it was just a matter of time. Again, we're not sure uh, who's set to speak at this. Generally, it has been a local special agent for the FBI, the governor of Utah, and state Department of Public Safety in Utah. We know that the FBI director Kash Patel has been there, but so far he's decided not to speak. Director Patel has been receiving a lot of heat over his handling of the investigation so far. There was some concern that perhaps inexperience and a depleted manpower at the FBI may have jeopardized the investigation. Obviously, it appears that that does not appear to be the case, but also it may simply have to do with the fact that Kash Patel knew Charlie Kirk very well. Kirk reportedly was instrumental in convincing Trump to select Patel as FBI director under great controversy, particularly among moderates and liberals who questioned his qualifications as not as someone who had never led any type of law enforcement organization prior to being FBI director. Again, we're not hearing any. Generally, in cases like this, somebody may come to the podium or at least alert the media. They may give a 2 to 5 minute warning to kind of let networks know a rough estimate of when to prepare to toss to the news conference so that nothing's missed. I have not seen that happen yet, as we have passed a 7:30 a.m. local time in Utah, but we do expect to see something happen here momentarily. Now, taking a look at some of the latest information right now. Still waiting to get more information on this shooter. Obviously, everybody will be poring over all aspects of the gentleman in custody. He is a 22-year-old Utah resident. Who had evaded police. It's possible what may have changed this is making his image public, and possibly giving him or his family the identification needed to determine it was him, and possibly for him to determine that there was enough evidence out there that he would be identified one way or the other. Now, Robinson will stand accused of firing the one shot that struck Kirk in the neck, killing him while he was speaking at Utah Valley University in Orem, Utah on Wednesday. The New York Times is reporting that Robinson was taken into custody last night at Zion National Park, about 250 miles southwest of the campus. CNN is reporting that Robinson confessed that he was the shooter to his father. Okay, news conference is not beginning right now. This is an individual with the media that's just doing a mic check to make sure. Okay, and we have not received a 2-minute warning, so we're still on standby for this news conference. No updates as to when it may begin, but we're going to continue to monitor that as we await any information. Now, there was video released last night that showed the shooter jumping off the roof of the building that he was on. That building, he apparently had been on campus maneuvering onto the rooftop a full 2 hours before the shooting. There was some confusion, obviously, in the chaos afterwards, that 2 people were taken into custody. They were later released when it was determined that they had nothing to do with what happened to Kirk. Right now, as far as we're aware, this is the only person that is in custody in connection with the shooting. Okay, so that I'm assuming is a public information officer who says that they're going to try and provide a 5-minute warning, but there is no indication at this time that we're anywhere near that. So again, the official word was that this was going to begin about 5 or 6 minutes ago. It is not, and now is being to be determined at this point. We do expect something relatively soon, so we'll stand by here. Authorities say a Mauser 30 caliber bolt action rifle was found in a towel in the woods. A spent cartridge was recovered from the chamber, 3 other rounds loaded into the magazine. That is all undergoing analyzation by the Federal Crime Lab. there were reports yesterday about some perhaps transgender and other political statements on those cartridges. That has not been confirmed. Other sources within law enforcement are saying that there appeared to be some type of message, but they wouldn't go as far as saying that's what it was. So it appears those original reports that were came out from some news sources are being walked back a little bit this morning. Um, so that may be something that now that the suspect's in custody, we may hear something about. We don't know. But if that is not true, that is quite unfortunate because that is just another example of what is kind of fanning the flames of blame and agenda when we don't yet have all the facts yet. I think it's very clear to anybody that this was some form of political assassination, but the exact motive remains to be seen. And to be honest, how much does it matter? We've seen all kinds of motives in mass shootings and targeted killings over the last 50 years. It doesn't really change anything. A person is dead, and they were killed for speaking what they believed in. A lot of people didn't like it. I understand that. But certainly not an excuse to murder somebody. If anybody has any questions or anything about the investigation or how we got to today, feel free to share them in the chat. There's already a lot of people in here. We appreciate you joining us. We are still standing by for this news conference that was supposed to begin about originally at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock local time. It then was pushed back to 7:30, and now here we are at just about 7:40, and no indication of it beginning anytime soon. So far, at least, I'm happy to report that our stream is doing a lot better than it was yesterday. Not sure what the issue is. I haven't changed anything, so I'm very grateful that that appears to be working better now. So hopefully it'll stay that way because it looks like we may be here for a little bit. Again, the shooter was reportedly taken into custody about 250 miles away from campus at Zion National Park. Presumably, the suspect may have been laying low in that area. I'm not sure if that was an area that he was from. We do know that the suspect, 22-year-old, believe it was. I just want to make sure I get the name right here. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah. Again, was taken into custody at some point last night. President Trump announcing this morning the capture, and then law enforcement sources confirming it a short time later. So here's what I think we're gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and pop offline here. We're gonna keep the stream up, and we're gonna continue to monitor it. And if we hear any updates on when this news conference will get underway, we will either bring that to you here live, or we will alert you to when it is coming. But again, we are still standing by for this news conference from Utah after word that the suspect has been arrested for the assassination of Charlie Kirk in Utah on Wednesday. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson of Utah now in custody after reportedly confessing to his father. He was taken into custody at Zion National Park, about 250 miles away from the shooting. We will keep the stream up. We will stay on standby and await to see if we get our update here in the near future. Okay, we did just get a warning that the news conference is about to begin. We do expect this to formally announce the capture of the suspect in the assassination of Charlie Kirk that authorities, law enforcement sources have identified to be Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old from Utah, who reportedly admitted to what he did to his father. So we are standing by for this to get underway now. Just fixing some audio settings on our end for this. Okay. Alrighty, so we should see this news conference get underway here in just a moment. We don't know what, if any, details that we don't already know will be announced. I imagine at some point we're likely going to receive a mugshot of the individual. Reportedly, a few other details coming in. There is a report that the suspect's father himself is a police officer who works for a local sheriff's department, and that he confessed to his father. His mother works for a company that works in government projects. He was reportedly taken into custody about 11 o'clock local time late last night. And now it appears that he will likely face the death penalty if this case goes to trial. So we did get the 5-minute warning a little while ago, so we should be seeing authorities coming out here shortly to update the case. Again, Charlie Kirk was shot and killed Wednesday afternoon on the Utah Valley University campus in Utah. The suspect was spotted on a rooftop, was seen fleeing that rooftop, jumping off the roof, and getting away on foot, leaving the murder weapon in a nearby wooded area wrapped in a towel, and was not seen or heard from until late last night when authorities released new photos of the suspect. The suspect was later captured at Zion National Park, about 250 miles away. He had reportedly confessed to his father, who sources are saying is a veteran law enforcement officer, that he did in fact carry out the killing. I don't think anybody is questioning that this was politically motivated, but exact motive and exact reasons for it, we don't know. We don't know if we're going to hear that yet today, or if that will be preserved for any future court case if it comes to that. As is often the case in cases like this, particularly when the death penalty is in play, defendants may often choose to admit their guilt in exchange for a life sentence. But that is, at this point, quite a ways down the road. We do anticipate law enforcement will be coming into the room here shortly to provide their update. This is the first news conference since the capture of 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. who is the apparent the alleged shooter in this. He's allegedly also confessed to his father, a veteran law enforcement officer. British media is sharing several photos of the suspect and his family from social media. The usage rules a little bit different over there, so not gonna be posting any of those. But he, as we said, he had a veteran law enforcement officer, has a veteran law enforcement officer as a father, um, and appears to have two younger brothers. Some of the photos that British media is sharing, showing him wearing a Donald Trump costume on Halloween in 2017. Others showing him using large firearms, posing with an M2 Browning 50 caliber machine gun. Um, so no photos necessarily indicating that he would be capable of carrying out such an act. As for why, um, obviously Charlie Kirk, anyone who would impose such a heinous act on him undoubtedly would be because for political reasons. The exact political reasons, of course, we don't know yet. We don't know if we're going to be getting anything uh, better to explain that today. That may come later. I will tell you, traditionally, as is the case, that stuff would come later in court filings, in a trial. But this is the Trump administration, and the Trump administration doesn't necessarily operate to protect prosecutorial integrity. Um, and it was made abundantly clear by President Trump on Wednesday night when he released a video from the Oval Office that he blames what he calls the radical left for this. And many of his supporters, including many personalities on 24-hour news, on Fox News, have declared retribution for this, that there needs to be war for this, ignoring the fact that the unfortunate truth is political violence is not new, and it is not exclusive to one side or one ideology. It was just a few short weeks ago that two Minnesota lawmakers were shot in their homes by a man posing as a police officer. These were Democratic lawmakers. One of them, she and her husband were murdered. Another lawmaker was critically wounded, but he is still recovering. We, of course, had the assassination attempt on President Trump last year during the campaign. Going further back, we had the shooting of Congresswoman Gabby Giffords in 2010. We had the attempted kidnapping of Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, a Democrat. We had the attack on former Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi's husband by a man who thought that she was home when she wasn't. And there's just too many cases of both people on the left and people on the right being targets of violence. The fact of the matter is, and any law enforcement agency will say this, is that political violence of all kinds, whether it be targeted assassinations or just violent attacks, are rising. It is an unfortunate byproduct of our polarization, of people's anger that's fueled online, oftentimes by misinformation. And unfortunately, anger is an effective tool when you want to win an election. And so for all the calls to tone down the rhetoric and all the calls to lower the temperature by both sides, it's safe to say that we've become so cynical that I don't think many people who follow politics believes that in fact is going to happen. We've been down this road many times. We had the violence. Many people talk about the violence in the 60s, but they also forget all of the assassination attempts and violence in the 70s and the 80s. Now it looks like we do have law enforcement finally making their way to the podium.
I should get out of the way.
So I'm going to step aside, and there's the FBI Director Kash Patel.
At today's press
We'll turn things
conference,
over
we will
to the
hear
news
from
conference.
Governor Cox, FBI Director Kash Patel,
and Sheriff Mike Smith. We also have with us Utah DPS Commissioner Bo Mason, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, FBI Special Agent in Charge Robert Bowles, and local and federal law enforcement partners. Following the remarks today, Governor Cox, Director Patel, and Commissioner Mason will take questions. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. I know there has been speculation as well as to the writing on those casings, those bullet casings, and I believe we have that as well. And I will share that with you now. So the area north of Campus Drive Road where the suspect crossed over, you saw some of that in the video that we released last night, consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a Mauser Model 98 30-06 caliber bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital OWO, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point. Up arrow symbol, right arrow, and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO." We are indebted to law enforcement across the state who has worked seamlessly together, local law enforcement, state law enforcement, and our federal partners with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. We're grateful for everyone who worked together in such a short amount of time to find this person and to bring justice. I want to thank the public who has been so engaged, reviewing videos, helping us with sending in tips, and helping us get to this point. I want to thank the family members of Tyler Robinson who did the right thing in this case and were able to bring him into to law enforcement as well. I especially want to thank the family of Charlie Kirk, Erica, Charlie's parents, his children. I want us to be thinking of them as we bring justice in this case. They will be involved in that justice. We will be working very closely with them as we move through this process as well. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah. But I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history. With that, I will now turn the microphone over to the Director of the FBI, Kash Patel.
Thank you, Governor. This is what happens when you let good cops be cops. The FBI and our partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk and honor his memory. I want to express my deep gratitude to President Trump, the Vice President, and the entire White House who have been so incredibly supportive with both resources and just personally to the FBI as a team. They had our backs the entire way, and I just want to express my gratitude for giving us the resources we need to operate in this space to bring this sort of justice at this sort of speed. In 33 hours, we have made historic progress for Charlie. Governor Cox, our partnership has been absolutely incredible these last few days. Our partnership will endure. Your state and local partners, your sheriffs, your DPS community has been unbelievably impressive in the hardest of times. And a case like this cannot be solved, cannot be brought without partnering with your state and local authorities. The FBI has a certain role to play, and we will play that role, and we will lead out for the federal government. But Governor Cox, we are so grateful for your state partnership that led out on this investigation. A little bit of the timeline. Charlie was shot at 12:23 p.m. on Wednesday. The first FBI agents arrived on scene in 16 minutes with chiefs of police at 12:39 and secured the scene. The FBI immediately launched fixed-wing assets. We utilized these assets to transport personnel, specialty technicians, hostage rescue teams. We also utilized these assets to go back and forth from the East Coast and here in Utah to transport forensic evidence and other evidence that will be analyzed and is being analyzed at our FBI laboratories in Quantico and other laboratories, including the ATF. At my direction, the FBI released the first set of FBI photos of the suspect at 10 a.m. local time on 9/11. Then, shortly thereafter, the FBI reward of $100,000 was released at 10:45 a.m. local. Myself and Deputy Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period. And I want to highlight what Governor Cox said. This would not have been possible without you, the media, and you, the public. That's why we went so public, so fast, and we're so transparent, and we're committed to that transparency. The crime scene, just a little bit there. It is a large crime scene. State and local authorities, along with federal authorities, processed that crime scene quickly. And I even had the ability to walk through that crime scene and walk through the steps the suspect took to learn more about what was needed and what resources we needed to bear to create a full picture for the FBI and leadership back in Washington. Furthermore, thankfully to state and local partners, forensic evidence has been seized and continues to be garnered. Forensic evidence has already been evaluated at FBI laboratories in Quantico and state and local authorities here. We will continue to process evidence as we see it, as we collect it, and we will continue to deliver to Governor Cox and his team. Last night, we had a total of approximately 7,000 leads. As of this morning, thanks to your great work, we have over 11,000 leads that were called in to the FBI. And we are running out every single lead that we can. Every one of those leads will be run out. The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement being great and partnerships in law enforcement, which I've tried to highlight as my tenure as the director of the FBI. There is no better relationship for law enforcement than the FBI to partner with state and local authorities, and you've seen it here in these last few days. The FBI Salt Lake field office, along with our offices in LA, Phoenix, Denver, San Antonio, Las Vegas, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, our headquarters component in Quantico, all participate in the FBI. I want to express my deep gratitude to the employees of the FBI, the men and women, the evidence response team tacticians, the special operators, the agents, the support staff. You have done monumental work in historic time when the public, who had a right to demand such an expeditious solving of an investigation, the FBI answered that call diligently, critically important to our nation, and we delivered. And I'm proud to be their leader, and I'm proud to be the director of the FBI. This is very much an ongoing investigation, as the governor said, and we will continue to work with state and local authorities to develop the investigation, to provide them the evidence they need for their ongoing prosecutions, and we will be here to answer every call they absolutely have, as long as it takes, for as long as we need to find and apprehend whatever suspects were involved in this crime. Lastly, to my friend Charlie Kirk, rest now, brother. We have the watch, and I'll see you in Valhalla.
Thank you, and good morning. I would just like to take a few minutes as the sheriff to express my gratitude for everybody who has played a part in this investigation. As you know, it's been a vast, a complicated, and a very, very fast-paced investigation. You're looking at people standing up here who are running on, if they got an hour's sleep in the last couple of days, they're probably lucky. It has been very taxing. It has been so impressive, speaking on behalf of the local law enforcement, to see the cooperation that we've seen in this type of case. Across the state, sheriffs, chiefs, our state partners have stepped up and have come to the call on anything that we needed. Our county chiefs have been phenomenal. Our Utah County Attorney, Jeff Gray, who's standing up here with us, has been phenomenal in leading us through this investigation. I would like to thank the federal government for their resources, their assets. Our local team here, our FBI team, has been extraordinary in helping us work through this and bring this person to justice. Most of all, I would like to thank the public, and specifically, I would like to thank the public who turned to prayers and who turned to positiveness for us. I would like to thank them on behalf of the law enforcement community, because we needed those prayers. That's what we needed to get through this. We needed your support, and you gave it to us. We needed your patience, and you gave it to us. And I would like to thank you for the Kirk family, because that's what they need. is your support and your prayers, and that will get us through all of this. So thank you, everybody, for everybody that have stepped up. We've had such a phenomenal response to this. Thank you.
I also want to give a special thanks to the Attorney General and the Department of Justice. Their unwavering support and their commitment to justice is shown true here. And without AG Bondi and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche and the resources they brought to bear, we would not have been able to complete our mission. And I just want to say special thanks. It's an honor to be a part of the Department of Justice.
Thank you again to our incredible law enforcement team who has worked so hard. Sheriff, I got a solid 90 minutes last night, so I'm probably the most well-rested person up here. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the microphone, so I hope you'll permit me a moment just to share a few more thoughts about where we are and how we got here and maybe a little bit of where we go from here. I don't want to get too preachy, but I think it's important that we, with eyes wide open, understand what's happening in our country today. I've heard people say, well, why are we so invested in this? There's violence happening all across our country. And violence is tragic everywhere, and every life taken is a child of God who deserves our love and respect and dignity. This is certainly about the tragic death, political assassination of Charlie Kirk, but it is also much bigger than an attack on an individual. It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on the American experiment. It is an attack on our ideals. This cuts to the very foundation of who we are, of who we have been, and who we could be in better times. Political violence is different than any other type of violence for lots of different reasons. One, because in the very act that Charlie championed of expression, that freedom of expression that is enshrined in our founding documents, in having his life taken in that very act, makes it more difficult for people to feel like they can share their ideas, that they can speak freely. We will never be able to solve all the other problems, including the violence problems that people are worried about, if we can't have a clash of ideas safely and securely. Especially those ideas with which you disagree. That's why this matters so much. Over the last 48 hours, I have been as angry as I have ever been, as sad as I have ever been. And it was, as anger pushed me to the brink, it was actually Charlie's words that pulled me back. I'd like to share some of those. And specifically right now, if I could, I need to talk to the young people in our state, in my state, and all across the country. As President Trump reminded me, he said, you know who really loved Charlie? The youths. And he's right. Young people loved Charlie, and young people hated Charlie. And Charlie went into those places anyway. And these are the words that have helped me. Charlie said, when people stop talking, that's when you get violence. He said, the weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. The only way out of the labyrinth of suffering is to forgive. Welcome without judgment, love without condition, forgive without limit. He said, always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. A few months ago, I referenced this last night, Charlie posted to social media, when things are moving very fast and people are losing their minds, it's important to stay grounded. Turn off your phone, read scripture, spend time with friends, And remember, internet fury is not real life. It's going to be okay. He again said, when you stop having a human connection with someone you disagree with, it becomes a lot easier to commit violence. He said, what we as a culture have to get back to is being able to have a reasonable agreement, where violence is not an option. Now, again, to my young friends out there, you are inheriting a country where politics feels like rage. It feels like rage is the only option. But through those words, we have a reminder that we can choose a different path. Your generation has an opportunity to build a culture that is very different than what we are suffering through right now. Not by pretending differences don't matter, but by embracing our differences and having those hard conversations. I think we need more moral clarity right now. I hear all the time that words are violence. Words are not violence. Violence is violence. And there is one person responsible for what happened here. And that person is now in custody and will be charged soon and will be held accountable. And yet, all of us have an opportunity right now to do something different. I want to thank my fellow Utahns. This bad stuff happens. For 33 hours, I was praying that if this had to happen here, that it wouldn't be one of us, that somebody drove from another state, somebody came from another country. Sadly, that prayer was not answered the way I had hoped for, just because I thought it would make it easier on us if we could just say, hey, we don't do that here. And indeed, Utah is a special place. We lead the nation in charitable giving. We lead the nation in service every year. But it did happen here. And it was one of us. But I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last two nights. There was no...
Okay, that is Utah Governor Spencer Cox speaking to his citizens in Utah. Just want to recap the breaking news at this moment that the suspect is in custody. It appears that a family member, including the suspect's father, a veteran law enforcement officer, realized that it was his son. Apparently his son had admitted to him that he shot and killed Charlie Kirk. And through speaking with his son, it sounds like, and according to CNN, also facilitating a conversation with a youth pastor, contacted U.S. Marshals and facilitated his surrender. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson was taken into custody late last night. Reports are that it happened at Zion National Park, about 250 miles away. Again, the family, as well as a close friend, did play a role in helping bring him to custody. And that there were messages written on cartridges. Now, yesterday, the Wall Street Journal reported that there were transgender comments on the cartridges. And it does not appear that was the case, in fact. It appears that there were some, doing some digging, there were some trolling, meme-like comments that were on there that I don't believe have anything to do with transgender. As well as other trolling comments, I guess meant to, in the eyes of this assassin, to troll Charlie Kirk while murdering him. The family and friends told authorities that the suspect, Tyler Robinson, had become increasingly political in recent years and had become increasingly angry with politics in recent years. Likely laying out where they believe the motive was an increasing frustration with politics, an increasing frustration with the outcome of politics and the people that were at the forefront of it. In this case, Charlie Kirk. Kirk had been at the forefront of the Republican Party for some 15 years, almost 15 years, since he was 18 years old and began founding Turning Point. He's largely credited with bringing youth into the Republican Party. He's credited actually with Kash Patel getting his position at the FBI, urging President Trump to bring him on in the second term. And now it appears that they have his killer in custody, and the case will proceed from here. Obviously, there is a death penalty in Utah. We will see if it comes to that. There could be a trial. The suspect may decide that he wants to admit his guilt and not go to trial, and in exchange spare his life for life in prison. But that may also not be an option if the federal system gets involved, and we don't know yet if that's going to happen. We likely will learn in the near future whether or not they will try and bring this into a federal courtroom because of the political assassination nature of this. But for right now, this is a state case of capital murder. So we will have to see if that changes. But again, the confirmation at this hour is that the suspect in Charlie Kirk's assassination has been captured. Tyler Robinson taken into custody late last night. By all accounts, he appears to be the person who carried this out. He allegedly admitted so to his father and texted details about the case to a friend that then showed that to authorities as they were either closing in or had just captured the suspect. So we appear to be at the end of the most dangerous part of the aftermath of this. The person that managed to escape is no longer on the run. Now comes the hard part, because it didn't take me long to look online and look at some of the other biggest names in right-wing media who are demanding action, who are demanding that we go after liberals and we go after Democrats, and it is not. It's not cooling the temperature as some other Republicans and Democrats are saying. That is not good. And unfortunately, this is also coming from our leaders. There's Congressman Clay Higgins, a far-right member of the Republican Party, says, I'm going to use congressional authority and every influence with big tech platforms to mandate immediate ban for life of every post or commenter that belittled the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Now, obviously, I'm not here to defend the character of anybody who would make light of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. However, that is a heinous attack on the First Amendment as well. And I would assume the first person that would tell Congressman Higgins that banning people for joking about something terrible is disgusting would be Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk did not exactly was not exactly innocent of not making light of tragic situations of his own. And I don't think, based on what he has said in the past, that he would ever stand for anybody on either side to be censored for such a thing. He's threatening businesses. He's threatening blacklisting. This is, again, Congressman Clay Higgins. He wants to shut anybody down who ever said anything humorous or, in his views, evil and sick for celebrating Charlie Kirk's assassination. This is the fringe of the Republican Party that people are so concerned about, particularly in an era where we do have a president that has not only tested the boundaries of executive authority and unilateral decision-making, but is largely getting away with it. Very little of his moves have been stifled by the courts at this point. So not good that some are going that route. Obviously, the vast majority of people who knew Charlie Kirk are not going that route because they know that's not what he stood for. He stood for freedom of speech, and more than almost any prominent Republican I can think of, he took that defense of speech to the people who hated him and openly relished in debating them. Now, you can question how he debated people and how he may have insulted them, but he debated them. You can't say that about most people spewing political opinions on air or online or anymore. They only want to talk to people who agree with them. And maybe that's too easy to do nowadays. Maybe you do need to hear other sides. Maybe you do need to understand other people's experiences, because it's easy to paint people in a different light if you only view them through one lens. And if it's a political lens, I'm always reminded of the fact that there was a time, even when abortion was first legalized nationwide or protected nationwide in the 70s, most churches, most faith leaders didn't touch the issue because politics was dirty. Politics was considered beneath the faith. The faith was supposed to be something above that. Until some people in the Conservative Party began utilizing faith as a rallying cry. And it may have taken 50 years, but I would say it worked rather effectively. But there are a lot of people who are tired of this. I know I am. So I think that's all we're going to say today. I think for now, we're just going to take the win and the relief that the suspect, who by all accounts is the one who carried this out, according to reports, is now in custody and will likely stay that way for the rest of their life. The political ramifications of this, the aftermath of this, the fear and concern for retribution is real, and we need to acknowledge that, and it needs to be addressed. So far, we have not seen that from President Trump. We've seen it from other leaders. We've seen it from Speaker Johnson, but we have not seen that appeal for calm from the president. And regardless of what you think of President Trump, I hope that changes. We don't need anything else stoking the fires of fear and anger right now. Or else this will happen again sooner than we think. And all that will do is cause those in power to hide further and further away from the people that they are supposed to represent. And I don't think that helps anybody. So, suspect is in custody. The work to continue building the case against him is underway. And the rest of us now hope that cooler heads will prevail. That's all we can do. So thanks for joining us again. I appreciate your support. We're just so close to 1,000 subscribers. If we can get there, that'd be great. I'd really like to continue doing coverage like this, and hopefully on a few more happier stories than this one. So thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you again for the next one.